Is this the camera?
Yeah, right. Not him. This one.
This one. This one.
That
one. This is all new to me. So my very first boyfriend, he was like this drug dealer, big time, all of that. But how could I not? I just explained the story.
Mm-hmm.
So my son's father, he wasn't that, right? So
complete opposite.
Yeah, he works. His mother lived in the projects. You know, even though I grew up, you know, poor at the time. This is my 16-year-old self-judging, not me judging now. I don't want people to get confused. But this is my thought process. Like, no car, like, you know, like, who are you? Like, how are we going to get around? And so he pursued me for like 2 years. So finally, he kept asking until the wrong time became the right time. Started dating him. I started dating my son's father. I got pregnant fairly quickly by him, yeah. So actually, I started dating him not when I was 18, when I was like 19, I want to say. Yeah, I was 19. And perfect guy. Like, he would just, everyone in my family still to this day just think he's like, he was just the stuff.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. That's how he won me over. Like, anything I ever wanted, like, it was just so loving for the first 2 years, Joevan. So, yep, I was like going on 19. Now that I now remember, I had to be like 18 going into 19, and we were together for like 2 years before I got pregnant. When I got pregnant, I was like, hey, what are we gonna do? You know, he was like, well, we'll get a place. That's when it started. And my mom begged me to go back to college, right? She was like, just go back to college. Like, you can leave the baby here with me, you know, this, that, and the other. I just want you to finish school. And I'm like, no, I'll finish school. She was like, no, if you move in with him, he's going to, you know, and she said it. I don't know if it was a curse, but you just didn't see it at the time. She was like, he's going to control you, and you're not going to be able to do what you want to do, and I want you to do what you want to do.
Was there an age difference?
No, we were the same age. But if you think about it, she was speaking from experience because my stepfather controlled her. And she kind of was trying to warn me, like, finish school, and then if you still want to live with him, then do it. Don't do it because you feel obligated to do it. She was saying you have options, and I did not listen. I felt like I don't want to be a burden. You know, I'm pregnant. I'm moving out of your house. That was my thought process. We move, the controlling starts, right? Now I'm on a whole entire different side of town. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I moved in his area, the west side of Chicago.
What's the difference between south side and west side of Chicago?
Very different. My grandmother explained to me that people who migrated from like St. Louis and Tennessee, they settled in on the south side, and people from Alabama and Mississippi, they settled in on the west side. I could be wrong. Like, I'm not a historian. This is something I'm taking from my grandmother.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. So the environments were very different. People on the west side, they rent. Like, it's a lot of renters and stuff like that. And then people on the south side, they used to call themselves like more bougie. They owned properties, but most violent, in my opinion.
Really?
They were more violent. And you would think not.
You think that's where the violence stems from in south side Chicago now?
Oh, my God, yeah. Still super violent. The west side is just starting to try to get violent, like, over the past few years, but the west side was very different. They used to be humbuggers. Like, they would fight. Like, you'll see 10 on 10. Like, you wouldn't see that on the south side. Somebody getting shot.
God.
Yeah, you'll see like large fights, family fights on the west side, and people just duking it out on the block. And I used to be like this with my popcorn. Like, I like the west side. Like, oh, look at grandma with this broomstick.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, very different culture. Very southern. Like, when I first moved there, like, family oriented and very like nicer, like looking out for you sort of deal, where like the people on the south side, in my opinion, they're a little colder, a little bit more arrogant, you know, like south side, hey girl, hey, come on, like, come on in. You go to a party on the south side, like, they won't speak, they won't welcome you. So it was sort of that deal. That's that's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So now you're in this control relationship. When do you start noticing that you're being controlled?
So I have my son. And so now it's like, oh, well, my girlfriends are having a birthday party because I had this group of girls that I hung out with from high school. We were very, very close. Very, very close. To this day, they are still super close like that. A good 6 of us. We were like a very close knit of girls, all went to high school together. It's crazy, but still to this day, it was like a real sisterhood, right? He ripped me right from them, right? Well, I gotta correct my language because the therapist was like, he didn't do anything, just say what happened. So what happened was, I would say like, hey, my friend Nikki, she's having a birthday party, I'm gonna go on the weekend. He's like, oh, okay. Then that day come and he's like, no, you're not going. Right, that's my thought. I was like, yes, I am. And that's when he hit me for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, like he slapped me. And I was like, I fought him back, but I couldn't really, win. He didn't, used to hit me with, a closed fist. So no one ever knew. He had a real bad habit of choking me and, roughing me up. He would choke me a lot. He would never, ever, hit me with a closed fist. Maybe once or twice he slapped me with an open hand. And I was in shock. And from there, you know how I don't know, I've heard stories about women being controlled and the man will go outside.
Yeah.
No, he'll stay in the house with you. He would not go out with his friends. It was like a real life.
So he pretty much feared that if he left or left you at home, that you would run away or something?
And I'm with a newborn baby. I was literally being stalked and controlled in my own home, and no one knew it. No, because I had violent people in my family and my dad. Mind you, my dad, when I first had my child, he's still, yeah. I had to keep all of that secret because I still to this day have street people in my family. And I told them later, they was like, boy, you so lucky. Probably we would have got him, right?
For sure.
And so I knew that, me understanding street life. He wasn't a street guy, my son's father.
You saved his life in a sense.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And people they were in such shock because he was so nice. He was so nice. He would buy people gifts. He bought my mom gifts. Everyone just loved him so much. And he was a good guy. I got clarity on it afterwards, though.
What was the clarity that you got?
When I went to this place called Landmark, I still had issues and beef, even though I had therapy, which diagnosed the situation with him. I don't want to skip that part because it's going to make sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back for a sec. So I was in a relationship with him. He controlled me, all my friends, crazy. I couldn't go outside. He would sit in the house with me. I left that relationship. It was still affecting me 12 years later, unbeknownst to me. That's when I first accidentally stumbled up on therapy. I was with a friend in church and she was saying, hey, I'm going to stop by the table and sign up for free therapy. I was like, okay. And the woman literally forced the board into my face. That's one of the moments I know God was there. Girl, you need this. You don't know you need it, but you need it.
For sure.
I was like, I don't need therapy. She was like, you need therapy. I was like, I don't. And she was really pushy, the lady at the volunteer at the desk. I'm like, you going hard for your ministry, aren't you? I said, I don't need the therapy. And she was like, girl, look, you're Black. We all need therapy. And she looked me in my eyes and I was like, okay. And I signed the clipboard. And I said to myself, I'm not going to therapy. 6 weeks later, they called me and I was going through a breakup. So it was that's how I know God sent it.
Yeah.
I was vulnerable and I was hurting. And I say, what the heck?
Why not?
I went to therapy. And that's when they told me I had a pathology. I would have relationships for 2 years and break up with them.
Even if nothing's wrong.
It was something wrong. She said I had PTSD when it came to relationships. She said, do you see the pathology? And I was like, what? She said, your son's father switched on you roughly 2 years. Right? She said, so a trigger word, and then he took control over you. So he took control over me. So she said, men, when they get together, they know immediately, this is my wife, or this is I want to be with her. This is who I want. She said it takes them no longer than 6 months.
For sure.
Can you agree? That's what she was saying. Like, most men know immediately. Like, if you're the one, they know immediately. Not that they're trying to figure it out.
Right.
She said, when you're the one for a man, they know immediately. And it was true. They all wanted to marry me. And that was a trigger word for me.
Marry. Moving
in together, having another child. That's why I only have one child.
Wow.
She said, my idea was, when it came, she said, we don't process pain. I said, I thought I was free from that. Like, that was 12 years ago. What do you mean?
Yeah, for sure.
She said, that was your first real relationship that defined relationships to you.
Forward.
That if I'm with you, I'm no longer me. I'm your girl. So I can't pursue what I want in life. I'm yours, so to speak. And so I can't be yours anymore. So I had to have one foot in the door and one foot out.
Right.
And I worked very, very hard because I was put in a position where he was controlling me, what I found out in therapy, mentally, emotionally, and sexually. He used to rape me. But I didn't call it rape. She said, that's rape. She said, oftentimes Black people, as I went through my sessions, because I explained to her that my boyfriend at the time said I would jump in my sleep. Like, I'll be asleep and I would jump and fight him off.
Really?
And she was like, were you ever molested? And I was like, no. She said, I want you to think about that for our next session. And I was thinking about it. I was like, nah. And I came back to the next session and she was like, are you sure? Because sometimes we'll block it out.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I went back to that moment. I said, did he molest me? And I blocked it out?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what happened? No. She was like, I need you to think about it. She said, because she said, when we are asleep, that's when we're at our most vulnerable. So I need you to really think about that. Have you ever been sexually violated in any kind of ways? And I was like, oh my God. My son's father used to force me to have sex with him twice a day. Like, every time I got into bed, in the morning and at night.
Wow.
Literally. And she said, that's rape.
Absolutely.
And you know the funny thing? Once I figured that out, I never jumped in my sleep anymore. Isn't that funny?
So it's like your body was trying to find peace, but the body and the brain weren't processing the two together until that moment.
Is that what happened?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. I'll take that because I never did it again. Like, my ex told me I would literally fight him off in my sleep. He's like, you know how like you'll just come hug your girl? Like, nothing's going on. I'm just hugging you because we're cuddled up.
Right, yeah.
But if I'm in a full-fledged sleep, I will fight you off, like kick and punch. And I didn't know it. I wouldn't even know it.
Really?
Really.
So was he the first person to actually acknowledge the fact that you did this? Do you know if you done this?
No, I had another boyfriend before him.
Okay.
Yeah. They told me the same thing. Especially if I had been drinking or something.
Yeah.
And I was in a deep sleep. Yeah, I would fight you off.
Wow.
You're just trying to scoot up next to me or hug me or cuddle with me in my sleep. They was like, you know what, last night you were like kicking and punching me. Like, I just was trying to, everything okay? Neither one of us like really put that together.
Yeah.
I just never put the two together.
Wow.
Until that day.
So let me know if this is too far to go, but was your child's father at the time, was he like, I know he was forcing you to have sex, but was it like in the sleep, was he forcing you like waking you up out of sleep to have sex with you, or just?
He would, it would be forceful, or he'll take it while I was asleep, like sneak and do it, and then if I wake up, he'll force me. Like, there was no saying no.
You still kind of sleep in a sense, waking up or going to sleep.
Waking up?
Yeah.
If I wake up and try to stop him, it was a force. That's where the raping happened.
So today, how are you feeling in this moment when it comes to like just dating?
I think I learned in that first therapy session that had to happen. Let me think. How many years ago was that? A good, this is 22. You know, the pandemic make things, I want to say 5 to 6 years ago.
Okay.
Is when I came to that understanding and discovery, right?
Got it.
It's almost like I need therapy for the therapy, because I then realized what I would do. This is where the PTSD part came in. Mm-hmm. When men, we would be happy first 2 years. Oh, this is the best relationship ever. But I would never move in with you. You'll have your place, I'll have mine. And now it's like, after a year, hey, you know, I love you, let's get married. That was a trigger word.
Yeah.
Move in, let's have a baby, let's get married. Those were trigger words for me. And unbeknownst to me in my subconscious mind, she said, just like a war veteran, I would go on autopilot and I would sabotage the relationship.
Wow.
And I really did a lot of damage to those people. And she suggested, she's like, look, you get into anything serious again, I suggest you both come into therapy, because they're going to have to know what they're dealing with
sure.
you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. Now, fast forward, I don't know if I'm 100% healed.
I mean, it's a journey.
Yeah.
No one's like 1,000% healed. You know, you're going to have the memory still.
Yeah.
You're going to have like vivid thoughts that still come to your mind from time to time.
Yeah.
You're going to have like, when the thing with trauma is like, you remember everything of when it happened, what it felt like, what it smelled like.
Right.
Those are the things you never get away from.
Right.
The process of healing is how to cope, how to deal with, how to live life and still feel sane. And I believe that's what your therapist is trying to help you to do, is like to feel sane. Like when that 2-year mark comes and it's time for you to, you know, exit stage left or right, this is where you come in and get some more help with the individuals, so they understand like it's not you, it's not her, it's what she's been through.
Yeah, the coming together. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I want something serious the next time, right? So definitely going to have to be open to therapy, fellas. Yeah, because...
So you're saying you're on the market?
I am.
Okay.
I'm on the market. And, but I'm not dating currently right now.
So you're just taking
like
time.
Purposely not dating.
Absolutely, I love it.
And because I have to figure out how I'm going to do this thing, right? Because one, I don't want to hurt anyone else, and I don't want to be hurt, right? So it's a balancing that needs to happen. And I feel that I'm healed from a lot of that stuff, just from the self-discovery of it all. But still, you never know.
You just never know. You just never know. Like, you know, it's just those words, like you said, those words could trigger you again. The thought of it can trigger you again. You know, just everything that you said triggers you can come up again. So, you know, stick with your therapist for sure.
I don't have her anymore.
Why not?
Yeah, so I started referring all these people to her after I got this self-discovery. And then when my dad died and I tried to get her back, she was like, my roster's full.
All your people in there.
Yeah. So it's one thing I can't. Yeah.
Ariel got some referrals. She got a database.
Yeah, I want to say this. I really, because I have had relationships afterwards, right? And I've changed as a person. But at first, me being that person that needed to protect myself, I was mean. I was controlling. I had to protect myself. I did not know it. So I damaged a lot of the men I was with. And then I came back with the new discovery and tried to be this nice person. And then they tried to play me. I'm like, nah, it's a wrap. Like, I know this game, right? So now I have to find like that nice balance. And what I like about my new me is that I am happy. I am whole. I'm not heavy. I'm not fearful.
You're in a good space.
I'm in a good space.
You look like you're in a good space, though.
Right. I'm in a good space, and I'm open to being more, I am more vulnerable with men than I was in the past, which I'm starting to learn, it's okay to have an open heart. Because, see, I had a closed heart at first. It's actually more beautiful to have an open heart.
Absolutely.
And it not work out than to have a closed heart. You know what I'm saying?
And miss the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keila, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
How
you're
you
welcome. I feel great.
Good. Nervousness is all gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
Good. That was a really dope story.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to get all of that.
Yeah.
I did. I don't know what, I never knew what I was going to get.
No.
And it was I didn't think about the drugs, your life in Chicago, Shabazz all that stuff. Like, this is very dope. And my hope is that your story sheds some light and helps some other women who may be dealing with the same exact thing.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you for sharing. I'm gonna do a quick commercial real quick. Then I want you to just close it out with some words, some positive words. Let people know where they can find you and all that good stuff, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Is this the camera?
Yeah, right. Not him. Hit this one.
This one.
Yeah.
This
That
one.
That one, yeah.
This is all new to me. So my name is Akilah. I'm known as Akilah B. IG. You can find me at Mrs. Cashflows, MRSCASHFLOWS. So my goal is to help 1,000 people reach their personal and financial potential. So hit me up. I'm free now and I'm happy. This is amazing, Joevan. Thank you.
No problem.